Well, it was a good day this morning for us where we signed 16 student athletes to join our program, and really didn't have any issues. Again, we did have some things towards the end that you have to deal with, but because of the relationships that our coaches had developed with these young men, we were able to ward off some people who tried to come in on a couple of them, and they signed their letters today. So again, that was really good. Really can't thank the staff enough for the job that they did. And this year was unlike any other year from a recruiting standpoint. And I think the big thing is, though, is if when you recruit and you recruit your area and develop relationships with coaches and getting to know who the players are, not just in the year that you're recruiting, but getting to know them and to understand who they are in their sophomore year, in their junior years, I think led to the success that we had, and the ability to connect with these kids and do the things that we needed to do to secure all these signatures. So really happy glad that in terms of what our coaches did, the effort that they put into it. And then also because everything you had to do was virtual. We didn't have, on campus official visits. So everything was virtual. And Ellen Tripp and her staff did a great job. Bob Howard, Matt King, when we did our virtual official visits, all those, we just basically did an official visit, but just did it virtually, had all the videos of the facilities, and so the players and parents could see, and it worked out well. A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of WebExes, a lot of those things that we've come to deal with here in 2020. So all in all, very, very pleased, and the quality of the class is a class that really happy about, and we're able to get kids at the positions that we needed to fulfill our roster as we continue to move forward. The one thing is you deal with a lot of different things that happen in recruiting. Did a Zoom call, WebEx last week with Stan Cross, and he's going through some tough times right now. The next day his dad passed away, and that's a very difficult thing. We have a young man, Dion Speet, is playing today at 1:00 in the state championship game in Florida. So, but again, just very, very happy with the class. I mean, when you go down the list, Caleb Anthony is a kid who is from Georgia, who, is very athletic, can play, both a safety and a corner position. Somebody who is a leader, is somebody that you really stood out when you watched him on tape. Malcolm Bell is going to be a mid-year enrollee. He'll be here in January from Canada. Big, tall corner there that gives you the length that you're looking for. Stan is a mid-year enrollee. Cross coming from Iowa Central. Another corner that we were looking at. And again, like I said, he's going through some tough times right now. Langston Hardy is a talented young man who is, a defensive end, stand-up guy, put his hand down, can do a lot of different things. His dad is Kevin Hardy. Kevin was at the Jaguars when I was there. So again, relationships are always big in recruiting. Chris Johnson, tight end, linebacker, but a tight end and very athletic, from right here in Jacksonville. Plays basketball, really good athlete and can do a lot of really good things. Joe McFadden, another mid-year enrollee from South Lake Carroll there, which we had Robbie Rochester from. Very strong leg. He was a guy that Power 5 school came in because they lost their guy, and he told them no, that he was going to go to UConn because of the relationships. You can see his stats, so he's going to be somebody that's going to be coming in and competing right away. Dion Mclean, is a big, tall, long defensive back from the Lawrenceville school. He's going to be a mid-year enrollee as well. So again, like his athleticism, Max Modesti is a running back who gives us a little bit more size than what we've had at running back. So we're happy about that. Tyler, you all know about Tyler. He'll be a mid-year enrollee as well. Played there for Pierce Brennan at Avon. I had a chance to see him play as a junior, and like his skill set, like his mannerisms, like his leadership, like everything about him. Femi and Max played together there at Byron Nelson. Probably more of an inside player. Take a look at him at tackle, but probably going to be ending up inside there. DeAndre, as I said, he's playing today in the state championship game. Again, tough kid, versatile. He's got that length that you're looking for as a linebacker. Josh Tracy, he'll be a mid-year enrollee as well. Tyler's teammate there at Avon. And then also Aaron Turner, guy is shifty, wide receiver from Gonzaga, down in DC. And then Yukari Walker from DeSoto, from Jace Medlock's high school. He's still involved with the playoffs, really good, versatile kid on the offensive line. And then Price Yates from Reagan High School down in San Antonio, defensive end, really plays hard, good kid. Really like the way his motor runs. Really good player on tape. And then we were able to get Hayden Kerr, young man from Australia. This will be our third Australian punter, that we've had. We're just kind of waiting for the NCAA to clear him over the last couple of days. And we were doing a Zoom call the other day. And as we were on the Zoom call, I get a text. Eddie and I were on with him, get a text that he was finally cleared by the NCAA. So we were able to, tell him that, in person. And again, he's a mid-year enrollee as well. So I believe we got seven that are coming in mid-year, and, really happy with the class. And, it's interesting because this group of guys, they started to get a group chat together over the last, 3-4 weeks. They started to get close, already as a class. So, again, just very, very impressed with the overall ability of these guys on the field, but just, what they bring to the table from who they are as people, and then also, what they bring from a leadership standpoint. So if there's any questions.
All right, thanks. Yeah, looks like we got a couple of hands up. If anybody else has any questions, just put that virtual hand up. Joe Zone, go ahead. Oh, you might be on mute.
Randy, great to see you again. Big questions this year. You can't hear me?
No, Joe. We'll come back to it. We'll come back.
Okay, go ahead.
Neil Ostrow, go ahead.
Randy, was not playing this year a bit of a negative because guys couldn't kind of see what you did, or was it more of a positive? Guys could kind of see maybe there's opportunities right away, kind of the fresh depth chart and that kind of thing.
Going through it, with all these guys, they understood why we didn't play. I don't think there was any negative effect to it at all. I mean, the only thing that a lot of them wish they could do was get up here on campus to see the campus before they signed. But no, there was no negative aspect to it. And I think the positive aspect to it, Neil, was a fan into the recruiting part of it. And, that's the thing that I thought was a little bit more of an advantage, that, you know, we were able to spend probably more time than maybe than you would have in other times, just because of the fact that you're not game planning, you're not doing those sort of things, but we were still doing everything we needed to. But, you know, none of these young men committed to us, and we really didn't have anybody, you know, that backed out. They never really wavered. And I think that it was because of the relationships that the individual coaches who recruited these kids, you know, had with them, and they had with them early on, back in, you know, February and March, before the pandemic hit.
Joe Zone, you want to try again?
Can you hear me now, Pat? No?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can't hear me? Okay, Randy.
Yeah.
One of the big concerns this year for seniors was losing their senior season, and then maybe losing the opportunity to show more of what they could do for coaches. Was that a factor at all? I see you have several kids on there who didn't play their senior season. How big of a factor is that for some senior players?
Well, out of the 16 that we signed, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, really 7 of the 16, you know, didn't play this season. So, you know, what we did is we made our evaluation. Well, Josh and Tyler, you know, we saw them. I saw them play personally as a junior. I went to a game and saw them and knew that we liked them back then, and they were on our campus, and we had seen, you know, Aaron Turner, you know, play as a junior. They could play this spring. I'm not sure he's going to. I told him I'd support him, whatever he wanted to do. And then Stanley and Malcolm and Dion, you know, we went off the film that they had, because, and really, Joe, if you take a look at it, and at least in our situation, you know, we offer a lot of guys, you know, off of their junior film. I mean, if you take a look at recruiting, there's a lot of offers that are already extended before young men go into their senior year. You know, the kids that, you know, got hurt from it, or those kids that make significant gains from their junior to their senior year, you know, maybe physically, height-wise, weight-wise, and maturity-wise, and can develop. But, you know, some of those kids that might not have gotten that opportunity to play this year, yes, that would hinder them. But for us, we made our evaluations based on, you know, what we saw of the, you know, if kids didn't play their senior year, we trust our own evaluation and just evaluated them that way.
Tom Amore, go ahead.
Yeah, Randy, looking at the group, what was the one trait that you really wanted to bring to the program, you know, across the board, that you were able to do with this group? It seems like there's an emphasis on speed, you know, stand-up ends who could get up the field, and obviously threats at wide receiver, running back. But so I imagine team speed was one priority, but what were the priorities, the things you really wanted to bring to the roster overall with this class?
Well, I think it was speed and athleticism and versatility. You know, these kids, a lot of these kids can play a lot of different, do a lot of different things. Yeah, we got them earmarked for certain positions, but in terms of making your offense or your defense more dynamic because of the versatility and the number of things that these young men can do, that was something that's important to us as we evaluate young men. Because again, for us and doing, you know, for us and going where we're going as an independent, we got to be a little bit different than maybe we were in the past, because you're not in a conference. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to get guys that had the ability to make plays on offense There was different things that you could do with these guys and put them in different positions and put them in different spots on the field in order to be able to get them the ball. Same thing with some of the offensive linemen. They have the versatility that they could play a tackle, they could play a guard, they could play a center, based on what you want to do. And, like I said, we wanted to make sure that we did get a little bit bigger back than what we've had previously. And then, again, defensively with what you're seeing from these offenses nowadays, you better have guys on defense, who can run and who can go out and, because you're playing now, you're going to be playing with, 5, 6 defensive backs going against some of these styles of offense. And then when you have linebackers who have some size, now you can make those guys, rush guys, defensive ends. And so again, a lot of it is on speed and athleticism, but, Dom, the thing that, that I like too is, all these guys, they came from winning programs. They know what hard work is about. They know what winning's about. And, those are the things that we try to put an emphasis on is the, character, the work ethic, but also they have all those other traits that I just talked about to go with it. And as you get on the Zoom calls and WebExes and you're there with the families and the young men, you get a good feel for, the environment that they grew up in and, they'll be able to fit into, the culture that we've created here now, off the field and in the locker room and mesh with the guys that we have.
Is there an interesting backstory on the punter from New South Wales? How did that come about?
Yeah, he's only like 29 years old. But no, it was one of those things where, we knew we needed a punter, and then we just used Eddie. Eddie got involved. We used our connections throughout the punting world nowadays, and got in touch, found out about Hayden, and got in touch with him and watched him on tape and everything, and just felt that he was good. But I mean, I'm telling you, we had to, because he had to go through so many different things with the NCAA to get cleared. It was like, I was just hoping that we would be able to get it done before the signing date. But, and the good thing is, we got those two guys coming in, Joe and Hayden. And then the nice thing about it is for those guys coming in is new guys, we have an excellent long snapper in Brian Keating. So, that will help to make their jobs, competing for their jobs, a little bit easier because of, who Brian is and what he can bring to the table, where those guys don't have to worry about things. So that was part of it, but we knew we needed to bring in, we wanted to get a kicker and get a punter, and we think we got 2 pretty good ones.
Eric, go ahead.
Randy, was 16 the number you were comfortable with? And can you just tell me about the 2 kids from Avon Old Farms, what you liked about them?
Yeah, the 16 was the number. Is there still a chance that we could add maybe 1 to 3 more people? Yes, I think that would come through the portal, because again, it's the portal is going to change not just grad transfers, but just the one-time transfers, moving forward. So, it's like it's become pro football. And the way I look at it is this, is that you have, your high school guys that you go after, and you have them, and then you go through spring and you might see some things, and then you say, okay, now I got free agency, or you even have free agency, now a little bit earlier. So basically you have 2 different dynamics that are working, right now. It's the high school kids, and this is where some high school kids could get left out because of the portal. And, but then you have the portal, and the portal changes now because in January, they're going to pass the one-time transfer rule. So it's just not grad transfers. It's going to be, guys that can come in and be eligible where you don't have to go through the waiver to get a waiver to play and everything else. So, that does change the dynamics moving forward. So again, there's still maybe two to three positions that I might look to take one guy if there's somebody out there that, fits into what we want. Tyler and Josh, they come from a really good program, Avon Old Farms. We've had history with Avon Old Farms going back to Dion Anderson and Tyler King, being here at UConn. And these two kids, are peas in a pod, basically. They're very close from down there in Stratford, Bridgeport. Very talented, very athletic. Like I said, I got a chance to watch him play, in person, was very impressed with him. Then had a chance to get up there to Avon last January, I believe it was, as we were recruiting and just stopping by, and they were, they were in the weight room, working out, and just watching them work out. They got a great work ethic. They're very honored that they're going to be able to play for the home state and the state of Connecticut, and just have, and when you talk about Tyler, at the quarterback position, he's one of those guys that has that, has that it factor, as a quarterback. He's confident, he's not cocky, but he's smart, takes everything in, and those are the traits that you look for to go along with the throwing ability and the movement skills that you'd like to have, because those are the things that we were looking for in a quarterback. Again, doing some things differently with that position, and having guys to be able to move the pocket and do different things and put more pressure on the defense. He gives you that. And then Josh is a very sure-handed wide receiver that really he plays, when you put him on a clock, his speed is going to be good, but he's one of those guys that plays a lot faster, than what maybe his time is on a watch, and really understands how to get open, how to maneuver around people, got excellent hands. So again, just two kids that from here that wanted to stay at home and, be a part of what we're doing. The other interesting story, and then again, this is why you have to ask questions. You talk about relationships. Well, Chris Johnson, his coach down there at the West Side, Coach Du Bois, is from Bridgeport. And he was good friends with Tyler's dad, knew Tyler's dad. And so, we had a connection there, and it was very helpful, from that standpoint. And again, Corey recruited him, and again, you use every advantage you can in recruiting, but Coach Du Bois was a big aid and a big help, in the recruiting process, with Chris, because Chris transferred from Ribault High School and went to West Side, his senior year. So not saying we wouldn't have gotten Chris if he stayed at Ribault, but by going there, that just, and also he could talk about, his experiences and, being in Connecticut and being from there and having, friends up there. So again, he's kind of got a couple big brothers already there, because the relationship his coach has with Tyler, and Tyler coming to UConn and everything else. So, you just try to find out, and that's what recruiting is all about. Recruiting is about who are the factors, who are the key factors in, helping a young man make a decision. And in that case, developing that relationship with Coach Du Bois that Corey did was very beneficial.
Matt Shonvisky. Matt, you there? You unmute? All right, we'll go to Gavin. Go ahead, Gavin.
Randy, the two kids from Byron Nelson, Texas, how did that come about? Did you start recruiting one and discover the other, or were you targeting both of them? So how did that kind of come about?
No, I mean, Corey was down there. He, has that area, and knew what we were looking for, linemen, looking for running backs, and you just watch the tape, and he liked both of them. And the way we do things is that the recruiting area coach goes and finds the kids and likes them, and then he'll bring them back, and it'll go to the position coaches, and they look at it, and then it'll go to recruiting coordinator, and then it comes to me. And so basically it was just down there, knowing about where there's guys that we thought were good players, went by the school and evaluated them. And, we were fortunate. Max didn't play the whole year. He got hurt early, hurt his ankle, and then came back 2 weeks ago. And I think I had over 100 yards after he came back, but he had hurt his ankle. And then, Femi is is a good kid. He's one of those kids that's versatile, as a tackle, guard, type guy, good kid, leader. And then, like I said, Max gives you that size that we were looking for in terms of a running back.
I'm on mute. Matt Finkel, go ahead.
Hey, Randy, without any high school football play. Hey, sorry. Without any high school football played in Connecticut this year, did that make it harder to recruit in our state and in New England in general? And how much of a priority was that?
I mean, recruiting in the state of Connecticut and New England is always a priority. There were guys that we looked at, and there were some guys that made decisions to go elsewhere that we were involved with. And then there was also some young men who said that they felt as though that they would like to go do a PG year because they didn't have a chance to play this year. So it didn't affect us, from the standpoint of who we wanted to recruit. Because again, I think also, and I can't mention names or anything, but, we evaluated some 2022 kids in the state of Connecticut, who didn't play this year that we really liked. And, we're recruiting now. So again, it's one of those things where from a recruiting standpoint that from our perspective, it didn't hurt kids in terms of our evaluation process in evaluating those young men, because a lot of times we already know that, like I said, the only ones that hurt were those guys that maybe, didn't have great junior film, but then who developed and got bigger and stronger and didn't have a chance to put something on the field. But as far as us evaluating guys that we wanted, we, like I said, we signed kids that didn't play a senior year.
All right.
Thank you.
Coach Matt Sean Visky has a question, has having audio issues. He just wants to know his question about Tyler Pumachan. You mentioned that he has the it factor. What specifically stands out to you about his skill set on the field?
Well, again, he's one of those kids that, he can make the throws that you want him to make. He's got the, ability to get back and make a play with his legs. He can run, and he's a smart football player. I think he, as you talk to him and you watch him, he understands the game. He understands what people are trying to do to him. And again, it's one of those things. When I say the it factor, it's just the feeling. And when you talk to somebody and you're there with them, you can tell that they have it. And he's just, in my opinion, he's one of those guys that has it to go along with the ability to, throw the football, the ability to run the football, and the ability to, either drop back and throw it, RPOs, move on the run and throw the ball. he can do all the things that can help put pressure on a defense based on, his skill set.
And then with Lang, having a player familiar with what it takes to succeed at the NFL level, does that give an incoming player an advantage over other newcomers?
Well, he's been brought up in a situation where, his dad was a Butkus Award winner 25 years ago, where he understands what you have to do. Now, he's got to go and do it. But the thing that we liked about him was his versatility. You can put his hand down in the ground, you can stand him up, you can do a lot of different things. You can rush him, you can drop him. There's a lot of different things you can do. And he understands the grind, that it takes to be good. He was at Episcopal High School through his junior year where Mark Brunell was the coach there. So again, we knew Mark, and, then he transferred to Sandalwood this year. And they had a good year, and he did good things there. But he understands he understands what you have to do, and he could see it, from his dad. And dad is, still there working out with him and doing those things, and letting him know what he has to do. But now what he's got to do is he'll have to come to UConn and he'll make his own name. We want him to be, Langston Hardy, not Langston Hardy, Kevin's son. Langston Hardy.
All right, Gavin, go ahead.
Randy, what are some of your needs now, position-wise? You obviously got 16 guys. Where would you want to add to?
If there's another corner that maybe that could help us, or what we call a rover type guy, those would probably be the two positions right now. And then again, I think if you can always find an offensive tackle, I think that's one that you always, and again, these would be guys, if there are guys out there that say are portal guys that fit what we want, there's a possibility, but it's not to say that we're going to go and try to sign any of those, because again, we're in a good position, with where we are right now from a number 85, from an 85 standpoint. And, that'll be stuff that I'll talk about probably more tomorrow.